I took a mission trip down to Ecuador in 2009, and I brought my guitar with me, and there was another guy who brought his guitar, and we played for the kids and stuff like that. But aside from that, I was never really engaged. I know last year when I was a freshman, I played a couple of times with the Navigators. I've only really been seriously engaged in a worship band since last September, which is when I got back here to school. Because afterwards, they were recruiting for the Navigators band. I said I was interested, and then they just put me on a band. I played on my friend Tim's band, because we have two bands. One was led by him, one was led by a girl named Ashley. So there were like two bands there. I played on his band for a while, but then he had a conflict this semester on Tuesday nights. So the guy who directs the worship for the Navigator, David Wiedenbacher, called me up while I was working one day and said, "Hey, we have this opportunity. Do you want to lead a worship band next semester?" And I had never led anything like that, but I said yes.
I picked Jacob because he had some experience playing last year, and he has a little bit of knowledge from his dad actually being a worship leader from the church in his hometown. So he's had a little bit of experience, and I've played with him, and I just saw just qualities of a leader in him.
A lot of the times I look up to a guy named Jeremy Good, who is a worship leader at a church here in Cedar Falls, Trinity Bible Church. He's an excellent leader. I played on his band a few times. Really knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for 10 or 12 years, I think. I think my dad was probably a big one. He's not like super famous or anything. I think he's been on a couple of radio shows. He has a few albums. But his philosophy of worship and the way that I saw him engage in it has always been cool. I love David Crowder bands, and they're great just because they bring a lot of like bluegrass influence and stuff in their music, which I love. Josh Garrels and Derek Webb I've been listening to, and they're great just because they're not sort of your stereotypical Christian artists. They don't get a whole lot of radio play, but I think they address some really interesting issues. It's definitely not a thing where we all just sort of hop up on stage and then go for it. There's a process. So my responsibilities, I pick the set list. So I choose the songs that we're going to sing. And I try to choose songs that just share the gospel, because you never know who's going to be in the audience. You never know who has never heard the gospel before and stuff like that. So songs about God's grace, His salvation, things like that, those are always great. And that's why I've actually been putting a lot of hymns in the set list this semester, because I love old hymns, love the language that they use, I love the melodies and things like that. But I think they're just powerful, but at the same time kind of simple, and it's easy for people to recognize these and sort of think about them and turn them over in their heads and stuff like that. So I pick the set list, and then I'm in charge of just sort of leading, I guess. And that's sort of a hard thing to describe, but we have practices on Sunday nights, and then Tuesday nights before the actual thing. We meet at about 5 o'clock, 5:30, and Nav night is at 8. So we have that space of time to just sort of think about how we're going about these songs. But it's sort of my job to I guess, corral people a little bit. I mean, sometimes it's like herding cats or whatever, because you get a bunch of musicians in the room, everybody wants to play their instrument, which is great, but we have to get everybody playing the same song, and sometimes that's harder than you would think it would be.
G, C, D, G, C, D, E minor, B minor, G,
You might as well just
C,
write it
G,
down for all
D,
this.
E minor, B
Here,
minor.
just does anybody have a pen?
I do.
Okay.
I got two.
But the more I play with these people, the more we get in step with each other. So I just have to make sure that everybody's on the same page. I decide sort of the dynamics of the song as well, because we have a lot of freedom to play these songs the way that we want to play them. I think one of the biggest things that I have learned this semester is just to trust God, and that includes things in worship, because it's not my own skill as a guitarist or as a person who can sing. It's the fact that God is allowing me to create an environment where people are free to approach the throne and just have this union with Christ. And so that was huge. That took a lot of stress off me when I realized that it wasn't my job to be a perfect musician. And early on, I definitely had struggles with that, where I'd never led anything like this before, like I said, and it was kind of tough, just feeling like maybe I wasn't good enough to lead the band, or maybe there was someone else that could do a better job with it. So it's been a process. But yeah, I don't think there have been any significant roadblocks though. I think that the people I work with sort of share my ideas on what worship is and how we create that environment. So it's really been a blessing working with them. I've played with them for a whole semester before I started leading them, so that was actually very helpful. They're just great guys, and I feel like we jam together really well. That's just been really encouraging to see that I've got these people around me who think the same way as me and who are, supporting me in these sort of pursuits.
Jacob is one of the most laid-back, chill dudes that I know, and that really comes through in how he leads us in worship bands. And I really appreciate that, because there's no need to come and stress out about if song's going to work out, or if everyone's going to collaborate well, or if it's going to take us hours upon hours, because it won't, because it's Jacob Stewart.
It's just helped me develop and grow as a guitarist. I play the backup guitar, and so I found it really cool how he's kind of taught me a little bit of what to do, and he leads the band well.
God is awesome. I like worshiping Him, and that's why I do my job.